Are we live?
Hello,
Are
incoming transmission.
are we live?
Are we there?
Are we there?
Hello, Father.
Hello.
Is that
Oh,
our
oh,
best friend, The
oh.
Rock?
We are live. Yes,
Oh,
that
we
is
did
our
it.
best friend, The
It is
Rock.
our best friend,
It
The
is our
Rock.
best friend, The Rock. There
Good,
we go. All
good.
right, I'm gonna share this out, tweet this out,
Let's do it.
tag you in
Share
it
it.
as well.
Sweet, sweet. Mine's getting. I was figuring it out how to word it. I was like, come watch as I join the Dorks Next Door to talk everything DC because The Rock's his best friend now.
That works. I
Something
like
like
it.
that.
I like it. Let's see here. So I'm assuming we are good to go. We are live. Yes, we are. So what is going on, everyone? To the Dorks Next Door. It has been a hot minute since we have jumped on here for a live stream, but there was just so much that happened this past week. We could not talk about it. There you go. That's good English for you. We are going to be discussing all things DC fandom, as well as what we are extremely hyped for now and what we are really looking forward to the most. But I am not alone on this endeavor. I am, as always, joined by the one and only Mr. Jason Lee. Jason, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, it's how's life at the grocery store going?
It's all right. It's been going pretty well. Apart from I do go in at 4 o'clock in the morning now,
Ooh.
most mornings. So that part is not very fun. But apart from that, it's okay.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that.
It's all right.
Yeah. But we are not alone either. We are joined by the host, I guess, is what he would be, the main guy behind it all, sort of, kind of. Justin may get mad about that, but hey, who cares about him right now?
Yeah, but who cares about his stupid face?
Yeah, exactly. We are joined by Nico from NewWorldNerds. How you doing, man?
Oh, dude, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. After a big night like last night, I wasn't sure if
We're
I
not
was going to
talking
make
about
it.
it. Well, I'll
But
cut your
as
feed.
your new world wrestling champion, I had to make an appearance. This is just my press tour right now. So I had
Right.
to do some publicity for it.
Some publicity for it. Yeah, so you
Yeah.
had to come and
I,
throw it in my face, I guess.
yeah, sorry, I sure did. I had to steal it from my 10-year-old brother, but I'll did it. I'll do
What
it
a
again.
jerk. What a jerk. It's like, have you seen the never mind, I can't say that. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
But we are very excited to talk about all things DC fandom. We are very excited to talk about everything that is going on. But before we do, we always like to start off these little shindigs by talking about what we are into, not necessarily this week because it's been a while since we've all got together and talked.
Yeah.
But we are going to talk about some things that we have been into the last couple of months. So we're going to start with Jason. I'm going to throw him under the bus first. What have you been into, man?
So obviously I didn't prepare as usual. I've been playing a lot of different Switch games. So lately I actually bought the whole BioShock collection, which is on Switch, and I've only started Infinite right now because I heard from a lot of my friends that you should start like kind of with Infinite and then play backwards through 2 and then do 1 first. So I'm really, really enjoying it. It's a really cool game. It looks incredible. On the Switch, I want to write an article once I get further into the game, just kind of, so that I can talk more about it. But it's one of the best Switch games that I've been playing lately, easily. It's so cool.
Nice. Wow. I don't think I've actually ever played them, so I need to jump on to that for sure. What about you, Nico?
And then you can read that article on Dorks Next Door / Squarespace.
No, not the Squarespace anymore. Just the Dorks Next Door.
Oh, just the Dorks Next Door. No, sorry, abort. No, but so what am I getting into? I just watched this show called Close Enough on HBO Max. My mother told me that we have an account and I haven't dove into HBO Max yet.
Right.
So I was like, all right, let's try it out. It's by the creators of the regular show, and I was like, this is pretty funny. It's basically about like these two. I want to say two parents, but they're in that stage like we're all in this prolonged adolescence where we're still like we're supposed to be adults but not quite, but they
Right.
have a child, so it's like them living with 2 roommates and having a kid and stuff. It's really cool. It's really funny. But what I just finished watching right before I came on the show is something I heard great stuff about, and it ties into our topic today. It was the Harley Quinn show. I had never seen it before. I've only heard good things about it, and mainly because there was no way I was going to pay for the DC universe.
Right.
But there it was was sitting nice. They were all nice and pretty on HBO Max, and I dove right in. And oh my God, I've been missing out. This was so great. I definitely see all the hype for it. Like it's just literally like some stuff. You're like, oh, I know I got to watch this because it's good. And it's still like a little like taxing to get through it.
Yeah.
No, 23 minutes is the perfect amount of time. Like it leaves you wanting more. It was such a good, or it is such a good show. And it was just the pilot. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, actually, you kind of stole my thunder a little bit
Oh.
because what I'm into is the Harley Quinn show as well. I started watching it last week and binged watched it because I couldn't stop watching it.
Yeah, it
it's
definitely
actually
has that effect.
it's really I was going into it expecting it not to be that great, to be honest, because they're like they're hit and miss. These type of cartoon shows are definitely hit and miss. And I think they absolutely knocked it out of the park. I think the cast, I didn't realize the cast for this show was as stacked as it actually is. And it's just like every character is a lot of fun. And you get to like kind of go through, I'm not going to say a whole lot because you just started the first episode, but season 2, they have a nice little opener where it's just 2 dudes chilling on a couch. And one dude has a Snyder Cut T-shirt on, and the other dude has The Last Jedi is not canon T-shirt on. So they take shots at everyone though, because at the end of the episode, the dude that has the Snyder Cut says, "I think Harley should have smiled more," making fun of Brie Larson and Captain Marvel. So I absolutely love that they take shots. They take shots at everybody. So
both sides.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So I would definitely recommend you watching that as well.
I got you.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. We should we'll probably do a review of it. We may do a review of it. Who knows? It's a lot of fun.
Good.
And I'm hoping that season 3 gets renewed on HBO Max because I need more of it in my life for sure. So we're gonna be moving on to talk about all things DC fandom. How much of DC fandom did you guys actually get to watch?
I watched, out of all the stuff, I actually watched maybe like just the Batman stuff, like actually, like when I turned it on. But I went in after I think I played Fall Guys with you and Gump. Like after I picked up Gabby, I came home and I just like was on news overload. I was like, "What? Show me all the trailers, give them to me," and I just shot them right into my eyeballs.
Yeah.
And then they were just all of it was. There wasn't anything where I was like, "Oh no, that doesn't look very good." Everything, I was pretty pleased with everything that happened.
Yeah, Jason, what about you? How much did you get to see of it?
Not a lot. I've seen like actually just like 3 or 4 trailers, so I'm going to be the one that's learning the most here today, I think. But yeah, they were cool. Like the ones that I saw were really cool.
Yeah, I didn't stay for the whole day because 24 hours is a long time. But I did cut in and out because I have people on Twitter that like I follow and had their notifications on specifically because they were watching it, so they would let people know like the Suicide Squad panel is getting ready to start and things like that. So I watched the Suicide panel, and I got to see the entire cast of that, as well as I watched the Batman one, obviously, and a few others that were kind of just there. It was I mean, for everything that is going on in the world, this was the best thing DC could have done, and I think they did a fantastic job with it. Like the entire way that it was laid out and set up was really, really cool. They had a lot of celebrity guests in there that I was not expecting to see, which was kind of cool to see that, hey, there are some celebrities that are dorks and nerds like us, which is kind of always fun to see. But it was still a lot of fun to kind of go from there. So we're going to kind of go beat by beat. We're going to talk about a lot of things. So we're going to kind of move through this a little quick. Obviously, we're going to save some of the bigger stuff for the end and talk about that a lot more. But we did get the confirmation for 2 new DC video games. We are getting Batman Gotham Knights, and they showed some kind of gameplay for that. It looked kind of like it kind of looked like the Arkham games as well, so it looked a lot of fun. But the only thing that they showed was you are playing apparently as Batgirl for some of it, and you're going up against Mr. Freeze. So that's like a fun villain to be kind of in a video game. So that was a lot of fun. But there were some leaks and teases of you're going to see Batman and Robin in there, as well as a couple of other fun characters. And then probably the more exciting one to me is we're going to be getting a Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game, which the premise of it is that the Justice League is mind controlled, and it's up to the Suicide Squad to defeat them. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Did you guys get to see anything about these 2 games, or if you have heard about them before, are you excited to see them?
So I got to see the game.
Talk.
Go for it.
Somebody go.
No,
Jason,
go ahead.
All right, I'll go ahead.
Okay.
So Gotham Knights. I'm just gonna go. Gotham Knights. I heard that actually the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League is a continuation of the Arkham series, but Gotham Knights isn't. Which I was like, shouldn't it be the other way around? Like, why? Like, because it's no spoilers for Arkham Knight, I guess. But like, Bruce Wayne seems like he's done at the end of that game, so it would make more sense to me. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
The Gotham Knights, they actually brought gameplay, which is cool because the other one did not. I like the Court of Owls. I'm just like, cool, more Batman characters. Like, they just keep throwing Batman characters at me. It's fine. Like, I just want other. Like, I feel like there's like this would be the fourth or fifth Batman game, like in this, like in the Arkham series, which I do. Don't get me wrong, I love them. I don't like hate art, like people are like, no, only Arkham Asylum's a good one. It's like, no, I had a great time playing all of them.
Mhm.
But like, so I was just like, let's go to a different character. But I mean, it seems cool, it seems fun. But the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, I really like that. Didn't like how like the trailer is more like Fortnite-y, it seemed like a little more bouncy and stuff like that. But I mean, the gameplay can still be anything because that was just like a cinematic. I hope we get more Suicide Squad members, which I'm sure we will. Like, I want it to be more of like an Ultimate Alliance kind of deal where you can like pick your squad or whatever. But I also understand because that could be a big problem, like what people are saying about the Avengers game, where like it's not as focused when you're playing like as somebody else. So like the level design doesn't make a ton of sense. So if it's just these four, like that's okay with me too. I have some notes, that's why. So I just read it. But like all I really want is to be able to actually kill the Justice League, because if it's just in the title, I'm like, no, we just hit them in the head so hard that now they're good again. No, I want to murder them. That's what I want.
I'm all for that too.
Okay, sorry,
I'm all
just
for
you're up.
killing the Justice League. Jason, what about you?
No, that gave me time to gather my thoughts, so that was very good. And I agree. I agree with pretty much all of that, and definitely with how how Gotham Knights is not the continuation of Arkham, but Suicide Squad is, and it's really interesting because the tone of the Arkham games has, for the most part, stayed really consistent, and you can see that tone the strongest definitely in Arkham Asylum. And it kind of like mellows out as the games go along. And Arkham Knight is a lot more like flashy and like definitely like a AAA title. But that tone is like way more present in Gotham Knights. And it's also interesting because you can play, not like in the open world, but you can play as Batgirl, Robin, Nightwing, and Red Hood all in like the Arkham series. So it would make sense that those characters, you know, they're already in universe, you know, they could take up the mantle. I guess with the timeline of Batgirl, that doesn't really make any sense because she's in a wheelchair. So, you know, that part doesn't make any sense. But just like tonally, it seems like the more obvious continuation, and especially with, you know, the direct connection kind of to the end of Arkham Knight, it's like pretty weird. Suicide Squad, I'm definitely interested in the premise, but I can say that especially for a continuation of this universe that, you know, we're all already familiar with, it kind of like the tone that the trailer strikes is like really strange and really off, and definitely more like modern Suicide Squad, which makes sense. You know, modern Suicide Squad is a lot more jokey and a lot more bubbly, I guess, and different things like that. But it's like, you know, I'm interested to see where the tone of the actual game is going to be. Like, if you're actually killing the Justice League, clearly it's not going to be like exactly what was presented in the trailer. But, you know, we'll just have to see how it goes. I have faith in Rocksteady. You know, they've never really let me down. You know, all three of the Arkham games that they made were just brilliant. And so, yeah, no, I'm really interested. Those were two of the trailers that I saw, so I did want to give like some insight, you know, and feedback.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. Yeah, so no, I agree with both of you. I think it's very, very exciting to get both of these games and kind of a newer outlook on them as well. We also got a lot of this is we got a lot of concept art and a lot of trailers. So we're going to be talking about a lot of different things like that. We're going to start with a trailer for their upcoming DC film whenever it comes out, whenever COVID-19 decides to stop being itself and going away. We're going to be getting Wonder Woman 1984, and we got a trailer for it. which didn't really show a whole lot except for one thing. We finally got to see Cheetah, and how she would be looking. Did both of you get a chance to see this trailer at all?
Yeah, I got to watch it.
Okay, Jason, did you? No. Okay.
No.
So I'll
I
get
saw
your
the
thoughts.
thumbnail.
Yeah. I'll get your thoughts, Nico. What did you think of the way Cheetah looked?
So my big problem with the DC universe before, I think we talked about it a little bit. It's just that it seems like they're always afraid of being a comic book movie.
Mhm.
So like you can take all that serious stuff, that's good. I like that. But like I'd rather watch an Aquaman where they go make a full on Aquaman movie. That's my stuff, put it into my veins. So when they have Cheetah and like, oh, you could call me Cheetah because I come out here and I'm wearing cheetah print stuff. Like I don't like any of that nonsense. Don't give me any of that. So I know some people don't like the design. I'm for it. I want them to take more chances. I want them to do more comic book stuff. So when I see her, I know it's like not even like in the light. It's really in the dark, very muted and stuff like that. But I was like, yeah, give me Cheetah. That's what I'm not going to pretend like my comic book boxes have a single comic with Cheetah in it. So I'm not like, oh, she has to be this or that. I'm just like, she has Cheetah powers. I need to know that. Like
Yeah.
as I'm watching, not just like, oh, this hints to her comic book origins. Like this isn't the early 2000s anymore. We get it. Trust the audience. I like Cheetah. The trailer was pretty cool. Steve Trevor. It's going to be a fun fish out of water kind of stuff.
Mhm.
I'm all about it, baby boy.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I'm very excited. This, from just this trailer and the other trailers that we got, the tone for this one seems a lot different than the first movie.
Yeah.
The first Wonder Woman movie, which I am actually very excited for. I think it's a nice little change for her. And I agree. I think the more, because I enjoyed Aquaman a lot too, because it did not take itself seriously.
Yeah.
And the fact that like he's a dude that's like underwater and like he talks to fish, like that's basically it, and you don't need to take it a lot more seriously than that, and they didn't. And so I get the vibe for that as well. Also, I really dig her suit at the very end of the trailer. I know we've seen it before, but I'm a big fan of that look, and I think it works really well for her. And I think Gal Gadot is definitely one of the bright spots of current DC.
Definitely has a sickest theme.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the best part of BVS is when you hear her theme. No, I definitely agree with that. From a character that we all love, or sort of love in Wonder Woman, to a person that we all despise with a passion, we get to talk about the Flash for a little bit, and Ezra Miller. So during his panel, they try to make him look as good as they could after he choked a lady. Let's not forget that he choked someone. It's just, are either of you a fan of Ezra Miller's The Flash in Justice League or in BVS? Because he showed up in BVS for like 2 seconds.
I was just gonna let Jason. Jason, you go.
He's shaking his head very
passionately. Oh, he's not. Especially because of something that we'll talk about later, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a good Flash performance in there.
Okay.
That's my takeaway. Somebody teach him how to run, though.
Yes. Okay. I can get behind that. I can definitely get behind that. Yeah. But the main thing that we got from the Flash panel is we got the concept art of the Flash. We get to see his new suit, which the new suit didn't look too bad. It looked kind of cool, and they dropped a little nugget that it's Wayne tech. So Bruce Wayne created the Flash's costume, which is nice. But then we also got the concept art of Ezra Miller's The Flash and someone playing Batman behind him. And if you look really closely, it looks very similar to Michael Keaton. So it looks like the Michael Keaton rumors are very much true, and the rumor that Ben Affleck will be jumping on board to reprise his role as Batman in this movie. The fact that we're getting Ben Affleck back and Michael Keaton back, is your excitement for this movie any higher? Did you have any excitement in the first place? And if not, or if so, did this raise it up any?
No matter what Ezra Miller does, and it's going to sound terrible to say, there probably won't be like there's no way I couldn't be at least a little hyped for Flashpoint. It's a very cool comic book storyline, but like they've kind of been I don't want to say overdone. It's just like we've seen a great adaptation when they do it straight to the animated movie. It's great. So hearing Ben Affleck come back, I just want to see him get the letter from Thomas Wayne, and I want to cry my eyes out. That's what I want. Michael Keaton coming back, cherry on top. I'd rather see him in a Batman Beyond, but beggars can't be choosers. I'm glad to see him come back.
Jason?
I'm gonna have to be the. I don't know. I mean, I think I am very happy that we have like different viewpoints on it because I totally do. I am, I think very far from the DC fan that you are. So I'm happy to have different viewpoints. This movie doesn't really have like, it has like no hook on me like at all. And they could, it would be very difficult for them to announce something that would make me excited about it. Now it can come out and be great. And it's like awesome. But as right now, it's like, even as cool as Michael Keaton's Batman coming back is, it's just like, it doesn't have any grip on me like at all yet. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with that one.
Yeah, I'm kind of in between both of you of like, I'm not that excited for this movie pretty much, but the fact that Michael Keaton will be reprising his role does add a lot of intrigue to the movie. And even hearing that Ben Affleck, because I'm not a huge fan of the Ben Affleck as Batman, even though I don't think it was his fault at all. Zack Snyder's a terrible writer for Batman apparently, so I don't think it was Batman's fault really. So this, like, I think this could be a really good showing and kind of like his last hurrah as Batman. So I'm excited for those two. It's just, I still think that the first Flash movie being Flashpoint is way too soon. I mean, especially if it's
definitely
something that you want to build to, it's way too soon. And that was part of the issue with Justice League is like Justice League was rushed. Like we got to Justice League, but way too soon. And so I would like for this to kind of build to that. But if we do get it and it's great, I'm more than happy to eat my words about it and, say I loved it because I'm like, I agree. The Flashpoint angle and the comic is amazing, is absolutely amazing. And so to kind of see it come to life would be a really, really cool to see as well. It just has to be handled, the best way that it can. And I definitely agree with that. The Amazing Webhead, and Backstreet's back. All right. So I'm pretty sure that's for you, Nico. I want you to, I'll let you go ahead and do it.
Oh, no, I mean, you already did it. I only do it on our channel. Backstreet's back. All right. All right. Very good stuff. Time to bring the flavor.
There you go. Webhead also said the fact that Michael Keaton is coming back will push Marvel to use the multiverse forward, even with Sony for a live-action Spider-Verse. Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're definitely getting a live action at some point.
That's my movie. If I could make any movie, it would be a Spider-Verse movie.
Yeah, I think that would be. I think there would be a lot of intrigue with that, especially with the rumor that Sony is apparently doing the Kraven movie, and Marvel Studios could be doing the Batgirl, the Spider-Girl, or Spider-Woman. So that will be a lot of fun to see that as well. So that could definitely come together. Let's move on to the Suicide Squad because this one kind of blew everyone's mind. We started with James Gunn, who obviously directed the first and second, and will be directing the third Guardians of the Galaxy movies. But he is doing the reboot of the Suicide Squad, and I did not realize how freaking huge this cast was for this movie, and how many characters we were getting. So I have a rundown of the characters right here. We'll kind of talk about them. I'll run through them, and then we'll talk about them afterwards. But we're getting Idris Elba will be playing Bloodsport. Margot Robbie will be playing Harley Quinn. John Cena will be playing Peacemaker. Viola Davis will be playing Amanda Walker. Jai Courtney will be playing Captain Boomerang. Joel Kinnaman will be playing Rick Flag. David Dastmalchian, I think I screwed his name up. Polka Dot Man. Daniela Melchior, I don't know how to pronounce her name either, but she'll be Ratcatcher 2. Steve Agee is playing the on-set King Shark, but there is a rumor going around that Taika Waititi will be voicing King Shark, which obviously he probably will. Sean Gunn will be playing and portraying Weasel. Flula Borg will be playing Javelin. Nathan Fillion will be playing TDK. Peter Capaldi will be playing the Thinker. Pete Davidson will be playing Blackguard. Alice Braga will be playing Sosoria. Michael Roker will be playing Savin as well. So this is like a very stacked cast of people. Plus, he said that there are some other surprises that he has not mentioned yet that he will show later on. So speaking of just the cast itself, are you guys excited to see this movie? Based off of James Gunn directing it and the cast itself, are you excited to see it?
I'm fairly excited for it.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. I think this is obviously James Gunn, I think, did a fantastic job with both of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. And, you know, not to compare Marvel and DC, but the Suicide Squad and Guardians are kind of basically the same version of each other. And in weird ways of like characters that we wouldn't think worked together on a big screen that possibly could. We've already seen the Suicide Squad once, and it was a total train wreck, to be very fair. But I think this movie is probably the second most, like my second most anticipated movie from DC to come out is this one because of the cast and then some of the behind the scenes trailers that we got. What did you guys think of it?
I thought it was cool. I understand it only being a featurette because, like, there's a global pandemic.
Right.
So I don't know how much footage they actually have or if it's done or not. And I think that, yes, it's a great big cast, but I wouldn't be surprised if, like, one team gets totally murdered at the beginning of the movie. Like, if it's just like whatever Pete Davidson, Flula, and all those guys like that we don't really know that well, if they just get their heads blown off. Because I felt like, okay, you only killed one guy in the first one, and then like I think almost, if I had to make a prediction, almost all of them will die except for like Margot Robbie. Like, because there's, and maybe Idris Elba, but besides that, I don't really see any of them like having to stay. I feel like Polka Dot Man will make the noble sacrifice and redeem himself and just turn into a bunch of polka dots or whatever the heck his powers are, and that's he'll do better. Yeah, that's it. I think that most of them will die. John Cena being the douchey Captain America just fits him so well. Like, because I'm still not sure if he's a good guy or not.
Right.
So yeah, I'm excited for the cast. I trust James Gunn. If anything, it will be funny. If it won't be like a great like film, at least it'll be funny. I'm ready for it. Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say it's one of my most anticipated, but it's going to be a fun time.
What about you, Jason?
I think that just based on that alone, what they showed us from the cast and from the costumes, and from the behind the scenes and from the style that they're going for, this like immediately shot up to one of my most anticipated movies coming out like in pop culture. I'd say probably right now it's Batman, Guardians 3, and then Suicide Squad. Like, and that's, you know, I'm super stoked for it, because the Suicide Squad is, I want to say, probably my favorite team in DC. And that's been long-standing ever since, you know, they've been one of my favorites ever since before the movie came out, the first one came out. And it's like, just to see them, like, you know, kind of murdered on such a massive scale, you know, like kind of done so wrong. Like, this is their chance, you know. Like, the Guardians had their movie, that was their chance, and they killed it. And then Suicide Squad, this is their chance in the big time. And it's like, you know, it didn't pan out at all. So I see this as, like, kind of, you know, redemption for them on a big scale. And it just looks freaking awesome. And I think that just kind of having such a huge cast already sets it apart from so many other superhero movies, because it's like, obviously Avengers Endgame has a huge cast that took so long to build up to, but just like also just having such a weird cast of, like, you know, it's just like D-list characters that nobody knows or cares about. And just like the most like random castings too, that still works so well because, you know, James Gunn just knows, you know, he knows the character and he knows this is what I want for this character, you know, and you can already see, obviously, like John Cena was just like perfect, you know, and I'm sure that all of these other roles, like Sean Gunn playing a giant like humanoid weasel, that sounds hilarious. So you can already see that he has an eye for like, okay, here's this D-list character, here's the person that can make that interesting. And just like now there's like 15 of them and you're just going to like show all of them. That just like totally sold me on the idea of this movie. And again, like you said, I think it would be hilarious like to see how many of them actually make it through the movie because I think that for most of them, the chances are pretty slim. And I think that could totally just add to, what sets this movie apart too, for sure. So this is another one that I'm like super, super stoked for.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I'm very, very excited for this as well. And it'll be a lot of fun. And I agree that if it's anything, it'll be definitely funny. And one of the things that he mentioned in his panel, James Gunn did, that this is probably the most explosions he's ever done in a movie. And he said it was probably near 50 to 100 explosions in the movie itself. So this is going to be a lot of explosions in this movie, which is going to be fun, to say the least. So we didn't get a whole lot of information because I don't think this movie is going to come out until like 2023. But we got the name for Shazam 2. Which is really? Shazam Fury of the Gods, which is very exciting. So someone pissed off the gods apparently in this movie. Listen, anything they do with Shazam right now, I'm going to be excited because the first one was just so charming and good that like I'm excited for the second one. No matter what, we didn't get a whole lot of information about it, but I do think this is once we start to get more information about it, I think this movie will definitely take its place. And becoming one of like the most anticipated movies of that year, probably because the first one did so well and was a lot of fun. Did you guys? I know Jason enjoyed the first one because we went and saw it together. What about you, Nico? Did you like the first one?
Oh yeah, I dug the first one. I thought it was really great. It had something that I think most of the DC universe movies were missing, and I thought it had a lot of heart.
Yeah,
and I didn't know about the title. That's cool. I'm trying to think like. Are they like Shazam kind of gods? Are they like the old gods? Because they haven't really talked about the new gods just yet in DC. Right. So like, I don't know. Seems pretty cool. I'm about it. They gotta, I guess, have like I think because all the kids now have Shazam or whatever. There's the Shazam kids versus like whatever gods they're gonna fight. They each get one. So that'll be cool. Be interesting.
That will be cool. That will be very, very cool. I'm excited for that. And then we got some Black Adam concept from my best friend, The Rock.
Yeah.
He basically introduced that Black Adam will be facing the Justice Society of America. And they talked about some of the characters that he will be going up against: Atom Smasher, Hawkman, Dr. Fate, and Cyclone. So, but the concept art for this, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but the concept art for it looked absolutely amazing. To me, and I really, really enjoyed it. I think it's going to be one of I'm very excited for it just off of the concept itself. And then The Rock dropped a promo at the end, basically cutting a promo on the Justice League, saying that there's a new era coming and that they better watch out. Basically teasing that we could see like a Black Adam and Superman face off one day, which would be money in my eyes to see that. Did you guys get to see any of it? And if you did, what did you think of it?
I got to see the voiceover and the concept art, which is really cool. Since they didn't have any footage to show or anything like that. I was like, this was a cool alternative. I liked that better than like the Flashpoint concept art thing, just because like, hey, they put a little more production into it. Had The Rock do a voiceover. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a nice way to like introduce a concept art. I was against the anti-hero version of Black Adam at first, but I was like, well, it's The Rock. I don't care.
The Rock knows everything. What about you, Jason?
I got to say, so when Shazam first came out, and they very quickly announced, hey, we're going to do a Black Adam movie with The Rock. I'm sure you remember on the podcast, I was like, why are they ruining this? I was like, you've given us one movie that was great, that I felt was great. And then it's like, of course, they have to do something like make a Black Adam movie with The Rock. Why would they do this? Now I am completely flip-flopped on it, and I am like totally sold on this movie, and especially with the added bonus of the Justice Society. And like, I love all of those characters. Hawkman, Dr. Fate, two of my favorite DC characters ever. I'm sure they're going to be done justice in this movie. And I am just like, again, this was a very exciting DC panel for me, because basically everything that I saw, I was just like, yes, like this is the coolest thing. And Black Adam was definitely one of those. I'm so excited for it. It looks really fun.
Yeah, and I think this will be like, this is the first time that we're getting like The Rock in a superhero-esque movie, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun because he's basically like the real life. Like he's like basically like the real life superhero, because I don't know if you saw in the video package of him talking, he literally had a muscle vein about to break his shirt in half because it was so freaking big on his shoulder. So it's gonna be nice to see him like in a leotard flying around and doing.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice seeing those muscles up close.
It will, man. Hey,
all tight. Like his regular shirts fit him tight. Imagine the spandex.
Since we're best friends now, I'm sure we can all go to the screening for it. Yeah,
cool.
I'll get you in. I'll get you guys in.
I appreciate that.
So we're gonna go from a lot of fun things to a very controversial thing. I know a lot of us aren't big fans of this thing that we're getting ready to talk about. We got a lot of new information about the Snyder Cut for Justice League. They're doing it on HBO Max coming out in 2021. They're doing it in 1 hour chunks, and so it's going to be a 4-part series, 1 hour each. And then at the end of it, they're going to release. I saw Jason about pass out because it was 4 hours long. At the end of it, they're going to put them all together and release it as one massive movie. Let's read the room before we move on. I know Jason's thoughts, so I'll let him go last about this. Nico, are you excited at all for the Justice League Snyder Cut? Were you a part of the hashtag Snyder Cut like movement, or were you just like, if it happens, it happens, or were you against it? What was your stance on it?
I think you just summed up my part perfectly. I never have once tweeted release the Snyder Cut. So I was like, okay, sure, whatever. So I was like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, I'm not going to hold my breath. And then they announced it and they released. I'm not one to get excited over, look at this blurry picture of Darkseid. Like, that's not me. But like, I enjoyed this and I am a little excited for this. I don't want to say like, oh, I'm completely turned around, because I was just indifferent towards the Snyder Cut when all that stuff was going on. Like, it's just kind of hard to say, just because I'm not rooting against this movie.
Right.
I don't think any of us are. We want to see a good movie. We want to see a good Justice League movie, and if that's and if this is the way we get it, this is the way we get it. Either way, guess what? We got 2 Justice League movies for the price of one. So like, I'm fine with it. I am totally fine with it. I enjoyed the trailer. Like, I had a good, like, there's some stuff, obviously, I'm not just going to be like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. This is so cool. Mainly the villains designs are what I had a problem with. But like, honestly, like, it just seems more grounded. And I usually hate those sayings, because I felt like it just came up and just DC took the wrong message from like the success of the Dark Knight and stuff. But I am pleasantly, it's crazy. I think I've told you about this before. It's like, I'm expecting to be pleasantly surprised, which doesn't make any sense, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. So Jason, don't burst a blood vessel here or anything, but what did you get to see anything from the Snyder Cut? We'll talk about the trailer here in a minute. Did you get to see anything from it? If so, did it give you any excitement about it? Were you still just kind of meh about it? What are your thoughts on it?
So all that I have seen of it is again blurry picture of Darkseid, like you mentioned, which looks terrible. So, so we have the Batman, we have the Suicide Squad, we have Black Adam, we have all of these movies that I'm like, beyond, like, those are like 3 of my top 5. Well, okay, maybe not Black Adam, but at least 2 of them are in my top 5 most anticipated pop culture movies out of anything. So now, it's a different time than when the first Justice League came out. I, as a DC fan, have something else to hold on to. My feelings towards the Snyder Cut would be maximum indifference. Like, it's like, whatever. Like, And I think that it was also especially annoying, I think, because I was, I guess, more involved in the internet around that time as well. And now I've kind of dialed that back because I'm married now and I have a full-time job. So it does, it's a lot more difficult to be as involved in the internet as I was. But yeah, I think, now reeling back sort of from everything around the original Justice League movie, it's like, fine, whatever. I will take the Batman, I'll take the Suicide Squad, I'll take Black Adam. Those I'm like so excited for. The video games too, like so much cool stuff was announced at this that the Snyder Cut is just like, it's fine. So
yeah,
that's my spiel.
There you go. I'm kind of, because I was kind of in the same spot as you, Nico, of like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, who cares, really? And I fully agree that none of us want to see this movie fail, because the better it does, the better we all are for it, in a weird way of like, DC will do better, things like that. I did not expect a whole lot from this movie at all. I didn't expect a whole lot from the trailer. I got to say, the music for the trailer, the Hallelujah song, was a little heavy-handed and weird for me.
I thought so too, but then, of course, I have so many like Snyder Cut people on my Twitter, but like it's crazy. Like, it's so annoying sometimes. Because I follow some of them, I was like, oh no, they're pretty level-headed, but then like all of
I have some of those.
Any big group of people, a person is smart, people are stupid.
Yeah.
But it had something to do with his late daughter. That's why he put it in. That's the story. I don't know for sure, but I think it matched the tone of the trailer. But like, it's a little heavy, and we get it. You think Superman's Jesus?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just gonna move on from that. So
okay, go for it.
But no, I think though the trailer kind of worked for me in a weird way of like, it showed a lot more. It showed a lot of different things that we haven't seen yet from his cut. We got a better image of Darkseid in this trailer. I didn't think he looked too bad. He looked better than I was expecting. Is a better way to put it.
I thought the opposite. I thought he looked worse than I was expecting. Like that's, if I had a problem with it, it would be this.
Yeah.
And I think he looks really weird. He'll probably only show up in the flashback unless he like looks through the boom tube after like Steppenwolf, oh, you did a bad thing. You didn't conquer Earth like I said. I should have went and done it myself, idiot. But he looks like, I don't know, he looks a lot like Kratos to me in the face. And like, another gray villain. That's why you shouldn't do a bunch of gray villains in the beginning.
See, because I was looking at it like, obviously I knew he wasn't going to look like a Thanos would, but he didn't look as bad as Steppenwolf did. He's kind of like in the middle, and that I was expecting a Steppenwolf again, and I saw him, and I was like, okay, it's not that bad.
See, I was expecting, because like I said, I got a lot of Snyder apologists in my Twitter feed. So I was like, oh, dude, they were hyping me up in my head. They got to me. And then I was like, oh, he's fine. I have to see him in relation to a person.
Yeah.
Like, how's he look? Because he was a big CGI thing swinging something in front of a CGI background, which is okay. They can't actually go to Apocalypse. But I need to see him in reference to the other heroes,
Yeah.
So I was like, how does he look? Does he look silly? Like Thanos, you can literally see like the stubble on his face. So not to I say we're not going to compare him, and then we keep comparing.
But there are certain areas of Marvel and DC you have to compare. Like that's what they're there for. What did you think of Superman's black suit?
100 to give it to me, to shoot right into my eyeballs.
Yeah, I
always wanted the black suit all the time. I wish he had a mullet. That was the only thing I did. You put it in post, CGI mullet. There's still time to CGI a mullet.
Well, they tried to CGI his mustache out, so they could just CGI
the mullet.
Exactly. It looked great.
So I think that's the biggest take.
The mustache looked great, so the hair will look great.
It's so much easier to CGI hair on than off. I think we can all agree. Probably. They even showed that to Mission Impossible. They're like, nope. No. They're like, we don't like it. But I think the biggest takeaway, and the reason I was like, oh, this looks pretty good, because he hugs like Martha and Lois in one point. And I was like, hey, look at it. He looks great with his regular chin.
Yeah. 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 But I agree. The black suit looked really cool. Did you get to see any of the trailer, Jason, or just the crappy image of Darkseid?
No, just Dark Side.
Okay. So he looked really cool with it. They showed some more of the Flash's abilities, so he looks like he's going to do a whole lot more in this movie. Which,
I think there's a shot of him in the Speed Force.
Do what?
I think there's a shot of him in the Speed Force.
Yeah, I think there is too. Which I think, because he didn't do a whole lot in the first one, and like
him nor Cyborg did.
Yeah, which I'm still not a big fan of how Cyborg looked in the movie, but that's just whatever. But I still think he'll do a lot more. So maybe we'll get to see a better side of him as Flash in this movie, because they'll give him more to do. And then like I really like the shot of the entire Justice League standing side by side as like the plane thing kind of backed down and the hatch was open for them to get in or whatever. It looked really cool. I thought that looked really nice. And then it ended with Batman talking about Steppenwolf, I'm sure. He hasn't faced us united. Yeah, and then everyone really lost their mind. I like that. I like that scene a lot. So I'm still kind of where I was before this trailer kind of dropped of like, I mean, I hope it's good. I do think 4 hours is long, very, very long for this. Too long. But I think it's smart though to break it up into hour segments, because it kind of takes away from some of it being like a drag if it was just a 1 hour, like all together 4 hour movie. So I think that was kind of a smart concept for him. Do you guys have anything else you want to add about the Snyder cut before we get to some of the comments in here?
I like that they broke it up. I appreciate that, because I only got so much time. Don't give me a 4 hour movie. Like, I think it'll be better when they break it up. And also, I'm going to go live afterwards so I can get all those sweet, juicy views.
Oh, yeah,
afterwards.
Definitely.
So that was my immediate thought. But whatever, just don't give anybody any more excuses to why this shouldn't be a good movie.
Yeah. Yep. And if it fails, which we hope it doesn't, but if it fails, don't ever try to get another Snyder cut again, please, for anything. Just move on.
Write fan fiction like an adult.
There you go. It only worked for Sonic. Okay, the fan outrage only worked for Sonic, and it turned out very well for us. So maybe this will be the same way. So we have a couple of comments from Webhead. He said, in my reaction to the Snyder cut, I said I was excited, but not too excited. So kind of the same feel of, it is what it is. They also enjoyed the CGI mullet very well. Off topic of DC, but right now they announced a live action Powerpuff Girls show on the CW. The plot is they're in their 20s, delusioned because they wasted their childhood for crime fighting.
That's the most CW thing I've ever heard in my whole life.
You know what? I'm on board.
That's horrible.
I'm on
Why would you do that?
I'm on board. I want to see that now. I want to see Powerpuff Girls in their 20s going through a midlife crisis because they had to fight crime as a child.
I like, my girlfriend's trying to get me into a bunch of other CW shows. I swear she keeps that place running. She watched every CW show, and she was like, "You gotta watch The 100." And I was like, "I don't like CW." She's like, "You like The Flash and Arrow?" I was like, "I only like them. I know that they're bad, but I only like them, and I only like them because they have superhero skins over them.
Right.
If they didn't, if he wasn't yelling about King Shark and all this other bullshit, we gotta go to Earth 5, Barry. Oh my God, we gotta fight the 5th speedster that you fought in the last 6 months.
Oh my
God. If it
God.
wasn't for that, I wouldn't watch it. I love how crazy it is. Just some of the sentences they say in that show.
Yeah.
But I was like, I know what it is. I know what I'm about.
It's definitely an abusive relationship with the CW shows of, we love you, but you abuse us and how bad you are at times. And it's just, It's very, very rough. But no, I'm all on board for the Powerpuff Girls. I'm all on board. We will do a weekly episode covering the Powerpuff Girls, Jason.
Welcome back to the Powerpuff Girls stream. Welcome back to the Powerpuff Boys podcast.
Oh no!
I am for that. That is happening now. That is definitely happening now.
Jason, your disgust is only making us want to do this more.
Yes.
Now we're gonna do it.
I want to see this reaction.
Jason begrudgingly just comes and does the show with us every time.
I'm the villain. I'm the villain, I think.
Yeah. Well, I have to get Gump in here too, just to get the rage all together.
God.
That would make
that sounds great.
That would make for some great content. Absolutely amazing.
We need that balance, the two rage.
We do. The light and the dark. Okay, so the last thing we're going to talk about is the thing that blew everyone away, the biggest thing, and that is the Powerpuff Girls CW show. No, we're going to be talking about Matt Reeves, the Batman movie that we are getting in 2021, hopefully, as long as nothing gets screwed over between now and then. Did you get to watch Nico, did you get to watch the entire panel of him talking before he released the trailer?
No, I was just like, just shut up. Show me I know you haven't, you son of a bitch.
Well, see, I was kind of the opposite of like listening to him talk. It was like, I think I know why this movie is going to be such a success now is because he didn't rush it, but he took the time to he fully gets who Batman is as a character, and he's going to show that on the big screen as well. The trailer was absolutely amazing. If only 20% of the movie has been shot, I only need 20% of the movie in my life right now, and just show me the entire thing right now. That's all I need. What did you think of Robert Pattinson as Batman?
First of all, his name is Rob Bat. That is his
Rob Bat.
That is his Batman name. It's overkill on purpose. But I think it looks so good. I was never one of the ones like, oh, how is he the guy, the sparkling vampire?
Right.
Like it's a movie. Do you know what you did in your teenage job? Like you wouldn't want to see that version of Nico. Trust me, and that's not what we're gonna get. I'm very excited, and I was expecting good things from this because I like all the Planet of the Apes movies. I think those are the only Matt Reeves led movies I've ever seen. So I like that. Cast was stellar. I was all about it. And I watched this and heck yes.
Yeah.
This is so good. And just to all the deniers that he is the sparkly vampire still, that's why he beat that dude to a bloody pulp. That was him just saying, no. I'm the Batman now.
Yeah.
And he is vengeance. Say it out loud.
It was amazing. Jason, what did you think?
So, all right, Robert Pattinson looks so good. And part of the reason that he looks so good is because he looks so different. And we've already had so many iterations of Batman up to this point, and they've all been, at least the really good ones, the really standout ones, are standout because they've been so different from each other and good in different ways. Because Batman is such a huge character. He's got so many different faces. He's got so many different iterations. And so we're really seeing him in a different light, which is something that I'm really happy about because, in the modern age, it's really easy to kind of, I'm going to take a lot of inspiration from The Dark Knight, and just do that. But it seems like they are totally taking their own angle with it. And Robert Pattinson is, and he's so kind of raw, I guess, in a way, because Christian Bale was always sort of collected, only in really vulnerable moments was he not sort of collected. But Robert Pattinson, he doesn't really seem like he's got it all together yet, which is really cool. One thing that I heard is that this is just kind of a year two interpretation of Batman, which makes it all the more exciting, I think. Because we've seen Batman starting out and we've seen a way more seasoned Batman, but I think that this is kind of the perfect middle point that we haven't seen, and I think that Robert Pattinson is the perfect person to portray it. And I can't stress that enough. That's why it's my number one most anticipated movie out of anything right now, is just because this looks freaking awesome. I cannot wait for it.
I think it shot up to my number one, honestly. I knew it was going to be good, but after watching this, I was like, dude, this is really good. It's only 25% of the movie. Give it to Take all my money.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I think Robert Pattinson, especially from what we've seen, is going to be a fantastic Batman. One of the things that Matt Reeves said in his panel that got me really excited is no one has ever really looked into the greatest detective side of Batman in the movies, and we're going to see a lot of that now in this movie, which is very exciting. And especially when you get like the Riddler as like the first villain that he's going to be facing, like you have to be a detective. Like you're a detective. His detective side will come out and against the Riddler. And the Riddler looked dark in this movie, like super dark, and I absolutely loved it. And I think it's just going to be the tone for this is like it's very DC in the tone of like it's very dark, like it's a very dark and gritty movie. But I think it's Batman, so like Batman is a very dark and gritty character, and I think that's going to work really, really well. What did you guys think of the suit, the Batman suit?
Very good.
Yeah,
It looks like pretty simple, but like it looks good. Obviously, it's bulletproof. We saw in the trailer. It looks like it's kind of like just put together. And like Jason was saying, it's a year 2, so he's still figuring it out. Probably isn't even in like the final form of it, but I dig it. The symbol looks really cool too.
Yeah, I think the symbol is at least from like the close up that we saw. I think the symbol is like it's from a gun. I think like the thing going around is like it's the gun that killed his parents, and like he turned that into the bat symbol. Which I think is kind of cool. What do you think, Jason?
I think it's really cool because I think the Dark Knight suit is like fantastic. It looks a little bit more like maneuverable than the Dark Knight suit, which I think was really the only big thing holding that suit back. Is that it doesn't seem like you can do a whole lot of, and like in his fighting style, you can't really move a whole lot in that. Which not that it wasn't cool. Right.
Clinton couldn't even turn his neck half the time. He just had to turn his whole body to look.
Yeah. I guess that'd be my only dislike is that it didn't have any nipples on it.
I was about to say the same thing.
I had to say it.
Yeah.
But yeah. The only thing missing would have been the nipple on top.
But yeah, no, I think the suit looked absolutely amazing. Webhead said, still think Ben Affleck has the best suit, but I agree that the suit will get involved. We'll get involved more later. I enjoyed Ben Affleck's suit for the most part. I did not like the one in BVS, the robot one. Not a big fan of the robot.
Oh, with the goggles and stuff.
Yeah.
No, you said BBS. Sorry.
BVS. Yeah, the one where he's fighting the one where he fights Superman.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of that one. I thought, but I like Ben Affleck one. It was very simple. It looked very simple, but it was still kind of cool. This one is very unique. But it's simple, but it's like unique and something we haven't seen before, and I think it's really cool to see that as well.
I think something Jason said that was really good. I like the way you said raw, and that's definitely what you feel like when he's fighting somebody. A lot more raw because Ben Affleck moved more like a tank. And he's just like he's in his second year, so it's very raw. Definitely got a lot of Daredevil feeling for it, and people are gonna be like blah blah blah, whatever. No, like that's a compliment. Trust, like this, it's exactly what I want from it. And I don't know if this Batman kills because I'm pretty sure you can make a case that guy's dead. But I think he did it for a reason to instill fear in the other thugs because he's in his second year. He's like, I probably can't take all these thugs. Well, I'd rather not.
Yeah. I think the count
I think that also. Go ahead. Okay. I think that also a Batman that kills for a valid reason apart from like, I just that's just how I do things now.
I just have a gun in my car.
Exactly. I think that a Batman that kills for a valid reason would be very interesting to see. And I mean, again, I'm always looking for fresh takes. Like, don't give me the same thing over and over again. I know Marvel fan, very funny, but I'm always looking for, especially with like, all right, this is our new Batman. I think that would be an interesting angle to take it. I'm not saying I necessarily want them to take it that way, but if they do, okay, this is a Batman that does kill sometimes when he has to, then, if they make it good, then it's whatever. I'm totally cool with it.
Right. And like the thing that we talked about is like, this is still year 2 Batman too. So he's still technically figuring everything out as well. And so
Right.
that line of like not killing people could come at a later point as well. Another really cool shot is if after he beats the crap out of that dude and they kind of cut back to like the gang of people with the face masks or whatever on, you can, if you zoom in, you can see a dude crying.
Yeah.
Because he scared the crap out of him. So like that was a really, really cool scene. And I love in the trailer of like, you got the music going and then at the very end where he says, "Who are you?" and then he beats the crap out of the dude and the music just stops and it's just like the raw punching sound of that dude getting wrecked. And then I think probably the best Batman voice with Robert Pattinson, at least for the 3 words that we heard.
Yeah.
It's I was like, when I heard it, I was like, that is Batman, and I think I'm in love now. Like I think I am in love with Robert Pattinson. So
I don't know if I'm in love, but I also peed my pants.
yeah, like it's like a love and a fear. It's like a respect thing at this point.
Yeah.
I think it's also the perfect middle point between like Christian Bale, like, you know, like gargling ice voice, and Michael Keaton just like normal speaking voice. I think it's the perfect union between the two of those. It's kind of like, you know, I'm still, you know, like, you know, I'm trying to put on a different like voice here, but it doesn't sound a little bit silly.
Right.
So
yeah.
I think
It's
that's very cool.
It's not like the Superman effect of like taking your glasses off and on and you change personas just by your glasses.
Right.
All right. Let's not take any shots here. All right.
So I'm joking. So we got to see the Riddler at the very beginning, duct taping a dude's face completely like shut, which was different for the Riddler. What do you guys think the Riddler, like, what did you think of the Riddler, of what we saw? What do you expect from him in the movie as well?
I thought he was scary, dude. That looks scary. It reminded me a little bit of Hush, because, you know, like the bandages over your face. So I don't know if maybe it's going to be a reveal he wasn't the Riddler the whole time. No, I don't like it. Riddler looks cool for the first time. Like that cool, like scary for the first time. He's not just making you run around Gotham trying to find Riddler trophies all over the place. Not here's some puzzles for you. Like, it was cool. This is like, it shows you right off the bat, like, this is serious.
Yeah. What about you, Jason?
Honestly, I just can't believe they brought Jim Carrey back into the role. I can't believe they kept the orange hair. I thought that was so cool. And the onesie, I can't believe they brought that back too. It's just, you know, exactly what I wanted out of this movie. Exactly what I wanted out of the Rip. No, but he definitely, like, I'm so glad that the Riddler is who they're going with. Because again, the detective angle, thank you, you know, for making that a huge focus part of this movie, because he's right, we haven't seen that before. Most of it's just been kind of like action hero Batman, which I love, but like Detective Batman is something that's really, really been missing. And I think the Riddler is obviously the perfect person, the perfect villain to do that with. And again, you know, we have 2 very different interpretations here. I think there is a lot of real estate, you know, like with that character. Because really, I mean, you have Jim Carrey in Batman Forever, and then you have the Arkham games, and then you have a few other, but there's like, you know, between like big projects, not a lot of Riddler representation going on outside of the comics. So I think that he was really like the perfect character to have as a main antagonist, like, no doubt.
We are also getting so I think Riddler is going to be probably the main villain that he's facing here. But we also are getting Penguin, played by Colin Farrell, and then Carmine Falcone is going to be in this movie as well. So we're going to be getting those 3, as well as like the entire cast is extremely stacked. What did you guys think? Because we also saw Catwoman, and he also said, Matt Reeves also said in the panel that, you know, Catwoman's not necessarily Catwoman yet in this movie. And you kind of see that with like, she's just wearing like the burglar's mask, but like the 2 little points kind of make it look like cat ears. And we got to see Batman and Catwoman kind of going against each other. What did you guys think of her? What do you expect from her as well?
Cool. She really looked good in the suit. Like you said, it's like a proto Catwoman suit.
Yeah.
She's just wearing the balaclava. Dude, I'm about it. Like guys, there was nothing in this whole trailer where I was like, oh, I don't like that. Like in the other ones, there's usually like at least one thing where I'm like, I'm not sure about that. But no, like I liked everything in this. I'm all for this world. Like, yeah, I dug Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman.
What about you, Jason?
I don't think that we've really I don't think that they've really nailed Catwoman since Batman Returns. I love Catwoman in Batman Returns. I think she's hilarious. I think she's awesome. And then Anne Hathaway, that was kind of weird. It was fine. It was kind of weird. So I'm excited to see, if they nail Catwoman again. And I think they totally have an opportunity to here. Like, definitely.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you. A couple of other people that we're going to talk about. Probably the reason why this movie, because we've talked about this before on our podcast, of the reason why this movie was so anticipated for both of us is when Jeffrey Wright joined the cast.
Yeah.
It was going to be playing Commissioner Gordon. We only got to see him. He didn't really say anything. We got to see him for like 3 seconds in the trailer, but just seeing the 3 seconds of him in the trailer, I think he's going to play a fantastic Commissioner Gordon. What do you guys think?
Yep. Totally down for it. Thought he looked really cool. Sounded the part.
Yeah.
I just watched the Harley Quinn one, so I'm just waiting for him to be like a caffeine addict, like mad man with huge bags under his eyes. I'm sure. Do you think, Jason? Do you think he's Commissioner Gordon yet, or is he like Captain Gordon still?
That's a good question. I think that having him come into the role would be, again, like they're taking different angles in this movie. I think that would be a great angle to take his character. For sure, definitely. So I would guess that he's probably already the commissioner, but we'll have to see. I'd be totally down either way. I gotta say, Gary Oldman's Commissioner Gordon is probably my favorite character in the whole Dark Knight trilogy. Like, seeing him come up into the role and just like he like perfect, spot on portrayal. So I'm ready to see something different from that. And I think that Jeffrey Wright can totally bring that. I'm definitely excited to see what he's got.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And then Andy Serkis is going to be playing Alfred in this movie as well. So obviously not going to be the Michael Caine version of Alfred, which I think is probably my favorite version of Alfred, because who doesn't love Michael Caine? But I do think that this is going to be a lot of fun to see Andy Serkis playing Alfred as well. It's a very different take on this entire movie, which is exactly what we want, because we don't want just another Batman movie. Like, we want a Batman movie, but something we've never seen before. And from the first 25% of the movie that we've seen, like, it's something we've never really seen before with Batman, and it's really a lot of fun. Any final thoughts, though, on what we saw from the Batman trailer, and anything else that we've really talked about so far?
I am down for the Batman.
I like it. I'm down for the Batman. What about you, Jason?
Yeah, totally. I mean, again, my most anticipated movie out of anything. So, I cannot wait to see it. I really hope it does come out next year, because we've been on such a drought right now. Right now we would have Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I believe we'd have WandaVision on the way. Yeah. We would have definitely had Black Widow. And we would have Eternals on the way too, which, man, that hurts so bad, because I'm so excited for Eternals. But I'm really hoping that, obviously 2021 was going to be like the year. So maybe that's going to be 2022, 2023, however far these movies get pushed back to. But I really do hope that we do get to see it next year, to, have one thing to look forward to next year, since basically everything else got, shoved back.
Pushed back. Yeah. Now, I still think it's on slot for 2021 at this point, but anything can really happen. I think they also have started shooting for it again, which is very exciting. So it seems like things are slowly starting to get back on track for it as well. Let's look at some of the comments here. Webhead said Matt Reeves should direct an MCU Daredevil movie with Charlie Cox, of course. I agree.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely amazing. Nico put in the comment, get your Riddler onesie from our sponsor, MeUndies. I would love it if MeUndies sponsored us, to be quiet. I would wear that. Are you kidding me? Justin said Nico is trash. That is all. He doesn't deserve the New World Wrestling belt. I totally agree with that as well.
Hey, Justin, you shut up. Got it.
There you go. But yeah, so I think that is going to do it for all things DC fandom. Do you guys have anything else that you would like to add before we wrap this little bad boy up?
I want to say all this stuff looks really cool. And the news gets me really excited. I know a lot of people on Twitter right now be like, "Oh, Marvel, where you at? Blah, blah, blah." I've been fooled before.
Yeah.
Like we've had all these cool announcements before. Make a good movie.
See, I'm the same way.
That's what we care about. Make the movies good.
I haven't been this excited for DC since the announcement of BVS and Justice League, and look where that got us. So I'm very excited. I'm still very excited. I'm just proceeding with caution from here on out with it as well. Plus, Marvel kind of blew our minds last year with their Comic-Con stuff. So they got to take a break for a little bit.
They're just chilling right now, bro. That's okay. Yeah. I was just like, these aren't movies that we're getting excited. You know, we're getting excited for these panels and the trailers and stuff, which is cool. But let's wait for the movies to come out before we start declaring winners here.
But yeah, so we are very excited about all the things that we talked about. There's definitely a lot of intrigue, a lot of exciting things going on at DC. So it's very good when both Marvel and DC are doing great things, and we're at this point right now. Both companies are doing fantastic things right now, and so it's very exciting to see where they are going from here. I just hope that everything kind of continues forward. I hope, like we said, everything kind of pushes forward and does really well. So, but yeah, I think that's going to do it. Thank you so much, Nico, for joining us on this little thing.
Thanks for having me. I very much appreciate it. It was good to shoot the stuff again.
Why don't you go ahead and plug all your crap?
Well, first of all, he's right. It is crap. You can go ahead and subscribe to New World Nerds. Follow us on Twitter, all that cool stuff. We do videos and such. I did a What Culture-esque ups and downs for DC FanDome. If you want to hear a little bit more of my takes. And at the end of that video, I also plug this. So hopefully we'll get some people back here. If you're watching from there, put something in the comments saying, "Hey, I'm here from the other video. We done did it." That's it. I'm the New World Wrestling Champion for now. Justin is Mr. Money in the Bank. Who knows when he'll cash in? Hopefully never. That's it.
So does that mean I'm taking you on Sunday? Is that how that works?
Whoa, wait, what?
Because Backlash is Sunday, so...
No, that's dumb. You lost. Why would you get a chance? I feel like No, because I'll send Jackie a message and we'll get. We may make it a triple threat. We may make it a triple threat.
I'm taking you on Sunday.
Spoiler: Jason is the one that I'm going to be doing it. Yep.
You won't see it coming.
But we appreciate you guys joining us. We are hopefully everything has been crazy. I know I say this every time after the podcast. Hopefully the podcast will be coming back more regularly from here on out. It's just life is busy. We're busy boys, and we got to find time to do it. But we are very excited for all of this stuff. Go check out our website, dorksnextdoor.com. We're going to be releasing a lot of articles here very, very soon. Probably covering all things DC fandom, as well as some other news that has broken over the last couple of weeks, and all breaking news from here on out. You can find your gaming stuff there as well as some wrestling stuff there as well. I'm going to be bringing all of that back very, very, very soon. And we just appreciate you guys joining us. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at dorksnextdoor. Take out the E from next. You can follow me on Twitter at I'm Andy York. Jason got rid of his Twitter because he hates all of you. So that's what he wanted me to tell you. We really appreciate everyone joining us. Thank you guys so much. And we'll catch you guys in the next video. Now I got to figure out how to end this, because I think when I end it, it ends the call. So bye.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye. Good to see you.
Good to see everybody.